We have a delivery. Oh yes, finally. That's hot. Just a quick one, got some parts back for the 265 build. It's been a while, we're still waiting on a gasket kit, rear main seal and an oil pump drive. I'll show you all the parts now. We'll just start with the block and then we'll go back to the internals. So the block's been acid bathed, bored, decked and cam bearings fitted. The main bearings have actually in there because they measured those up to make sure it was all in spec. Also the machine that machined and decked the block is of the latest technology, so the deck is actually squared up with the main bearings now, so it should be better than factory. Obviously in the factory they just machine these, batch machined them, you know, all day long, so they probably weren't exactly up to spec. So this should be better than new, original. Obviously I have to give it a really good clean. I need to countersink the head bolt holes. I need to do a lot of deburring. All the push rod holes need to be deburred. Also I need to run a tap through every single thread on this engine. Make sure we don't have any dirt or crap. Alright, we'll flip it over and have a look underneath. I assume the main bearings have been measured individually and then matched to the closest measurement of the crankshaft journals, if that makes sense. So like I said, I've got to run a tap through every single thread on this engine, give it a real good flush, run the, what do you call them, bottle brush cleaners through the oil galleries, give it a really good clean. All right, we'll go and have a look at the internals. Righty, so this crank has been machined 10 over, or 10 under, sorry, mains and rods. And yeah, I'm liking what I see. This is definitely going to be a fun build. Just got to double, triple check everything. Measure wise, everything's on par. I've just got to make sure this thing is super clean. Got to run the pipe cleaners and whatnot through all the oil galleries. Now, my favourite part. Forged SRP pistons. We couldn't get anything decent in cast, which probably would have been fine. So we settled on forged pistons, which for longevity will be perfect. I'm liking them. Also, the rods have been, I can't remember what they cleaned them with. I know they've been chemically cleaned. Also, they've been resized. So they obviously split the cap off, machine a small amount off of the surface where they join, then they resize this hole. So the rods have been resized, so they're a perfect fit with the bearing, or perfect bearing crush, which also adds to longevity. Obviously all balanced individually. Brand new ARP rod bolts, which I believe are the same as 318. I'm pretty sure these rods are very similar to 318 as well. Plenty strong enough for a 265. According to Dave Vizard on a channel in the United States, he basically said stock 318 rods, by him just visually looking at them, he's the king of dynos, if you didn't know. He says these rods are basically good for 500 horsepower in standard form. Yeah. P bolts, that's the part number. Small block Chrysler. So the bearings came from eBay. ACL bearings, made in Australia. Real nice quality, always have been around for forever. Now, big shout out to this mob. I ordered these mid-afternoon and they turned up the next day, 24 hours, and I had them on my doorstep. Cannot complain. They don't just do Chrysler stuff, they do all sorts. So look them guys up on eBay. Just have a quick look at these rings. The daughter asked me too, what's with the pull noodle? That's obviously just to protect the piston from the rod tapping in there just by transport, you know. So, very clever idea. Now, I'll have to cut that open. You'll see them when I put them on the pistons anyway. So. Nice. Now, Crow cams. Lifter and cam package. One thing I used to do that I was taught as an apprentice was to soak these guys in oil. Get a tub of oil and soak them in there till the bubbles stop. Well, we don't do that anymore. we lube them up and leave them dry, if that makes sense, and let oil pressure take care of bleeding them up. It does actually say that it is a good idea to soak the lifters in engine oil prior to assembly, and check that the plunger moves free if you are using hydraulic type lifters. Well, maybe I'll soak them a little bit, just to get a little bit of oil inside. But I'm definitely not soaking them till they become bubble free. Now, this guy. This is an E49 grind, which is essentially a 53-year-old design or profile. So these cams actually came out in cars that you bought off the showroom floor, and the good old 70s, eh? Quite lopey. Comes with the running in lube. We'll run that cam in for 25 minutes. We'll be only using a single valve spring, so the lobes aren't suffering too much, and we'll probably do a few hundred Ks with the car, and then I do a few oil changes and then put the second lot of valve springs in. Something I've noticed over the years, when you get a camshaft that's a hottie, you can tell by looking at these two flats here. A standard camshaft, that flat there will be parallel with this flat here, or ramp. And looking at these two, they, well, you can see the overlap. A little bit hard to explain, but you can see they're not parallel flat. So you know that it has a bit of aggression to it. Okay, so we've covered the cam, lifters, not really the rings, but have a look at the pistons and rods, bearings, RP bolts. Now the cylinder head is pretty specky. A lot of you that would watch this would know Chris Mirabito. So this is going to Mirabito CNC ported head. So that's going to be pretty exciting. I've never seen one in person. It's actually in town, so I don't want it here until I've got the bottom end assembled, and then we'll tackle that. And also Yellow Terror roller rockers, I believe. So yes, can't wait. This has taken, it's going to be nearly a year, this engine build. It hasn't really gone to plan. Parts are hard to get in Australia. Well, good parts. You can buy cheap parts, but you know, you can't trust those. Makes me envious when I see people like Cletus. He can drag race a car on a Saturday, blow it up, get it machined, get all new parts, and then he's out there the following weekend breaking records. That doesn't happen in Australia, I'll tell you. So, very envious, but it is what it is. Thanks for watching. I'll have some videos come out on this soon, and probably another bit of 318 stuff on this beast. I've been porting the heads. I've been watching that, like I said, David Vizard. It's just tied up with Uncle Tony on that Impossible Mission engine they're building, that 318. So I've been wasting time actually on that because it's not a race car. So, but it's just practice, you know. I bought some, where are they? Bought some cheap burrs off of eBay, and they work quite well. 35 bucks, man, for, you know, 8 burrs off of eBay. Can't complain about that. Also bought some deeper ones to go deeper into the ports, but I put one in my die grinder, which just spins at 27,000 RPM, and this thing just bent like 90 degrees. So these longer ones, the cheap ones, I just use in a battery drill, which is plenty good enough. Here's one of the Dodge Phoenix 318 heads that I've been playing with. Turned out too bad. They've opened up quite a bit where they're restricted on the pushrod holes. Yeah, so they're cleaning up well. Still got a bit of work down to do down inside of there. Also still have to finish off around the inside of the bowl there. Take that out a little bit, but leave my taper on the edge. And just a tiny bit more work here. Like I said, I'm just tidying the ports up. I'm not gonna go crazy on them. So yeah, that's where I'm at with the Phoenix 318. Wasting time, but it's all good. All right, guys, thanks again for watching. We've just gone 12 months, just over 12 months this channel is old, so, and we've just cracked 500 subs, which is a bit of a milestone. So thanks everyone again for watching and tuning in. Sorry about the lack of vids, but you know, got work and family and whatnot, so like I said, it is what it is. So thanks again, and see you next time, and look after your mates. Cheers.